So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Paris-based musician, composer, band leader, and highly regarded soloist Olivier Ourio to Harmonic UK. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. And hello, Pete. It's great pleasure to be here with you today and sharing this weekend all together.
Well, welcome to our festival today. What will you be covering today, Olivier?
Well, since I'm a jazz musician and I'm an improviser, I'm mainly improvising. That means I love not knowing in advance what the topic is going to be about, and I love to just answer questions and share with people. I will answer any questions to the best of my abilities regarding chromatic harmonica and also phrasing and improvisation, whatever harmony, whatever you want. I can also play a little bit for you if you want. And I'm really glad that you're all connected and we can share this moment together.
Great stuff. And I know you'll be asked in a minute, but which harmonica are you playing today?
Here I'm playing a regular two Stillman's mellow tone.
Okay.
Except it's been a little bit customized by Michael Devino, harmonical. And you can also see it's all erased here because I'm holding the mic all the time when I play. So, this one is quite kind of old already.
Yes.
So the paint is all gone.
Yeah. Okay. Do you always play Hohner? Is that your?
I endorse Hohner. I endorse Hohner France, and I've been Hohner endorsee for 25 years.
Wow. Okay. Great stuff. So I'll be here with you throughout the session, Olivier. If you want anything, just call my name and I'll run a chat with you. I'll let you know what's going on there and ask you some questions as we go along.
Please feel free. Yeah.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. So guys, hello, ladies, gentlemen. I'm really delighted to spend this moment with you. And I'm waiting for all your questions. The goal is to share whatever we have together. And also if you want to know more about me, I'm really happy that the COVID time is over here in France. And I'm starting to play concerts again. I started in Brussels a week ago, and I will be in Switzerland the next weekend with my own band, and playing also in France during the summer. So it's great news. And for those who know me already, I've been doing during the COVID time. I've been doing lots of Facebook lives where most of you attended, and I want to thank you for that. I've been also working on my own online chromatic harmonica method, oriented on the chromatic harmonica and also on jazz improvisation. So I would be very happy to share the link with you for those who are interested. And I'm waiting for your questions. I don't know if you can see. Bon matin, Olivier, your style of jazz is unique. That's all I could read.
It says your style of jazz is unique and full of joy. I like that you play mostly your own compositions on your own albums. Can you speak about musical culture on La Réunion and how it influenced your music? And that's from Phil Halls.
With pleasure. It's true. I'm a French citizen, but I'm originally from that very remote island, which is called Réunion Island. This is in the east of Madagascar. And that's where my parents still live today. And it's a French overseas department, as we call it. So it's a French territory with French citizenship. And I spent all my childhood there. And I was lucky because my dad is a chromatic harmonica player. And since I was a child, this has been the instrument that was sitting on the table. And I would try to take it and practice. And I didn't really take it seriously. For me, it was just a toy. And that's only when I got to be a grown-up person that I realized that my love for music was immense and that I wanted to be a professional musician. So I left the island back in 1992, and I settled in Paris. And I've been a professional jazz musician for 27 years, or I don't know. No, I'm not that old. Not at all.
And Olivia, tell me about your connection with Toot Thielemans. What's
Oh, so of course, when you dream to become a jazz improviser on the chromatic harmonica, there is the absolute reference that Toots Thielemans is. So I was starting in back in those years in Reunion Island. I was studying like a self-taught musician, trying to improvise on my chromatic harmonica. And one day, one friend of mine came with a CD of the very famous Affinity CD recording by Bill Evans and Toots Thielemans. And I listened to that CD, and man, it hit me. You know, it was like it was a revelation. And at first, I was very discouraged by this recording, because it sounded to me that this was the Himalaya, the Everest of playing jazz harmonica. And I felt at first it's impossible to do that. So I thought about stopping music and stopping harmonica. But then, you know, I looked at it in a different way, and I looked at it as a Toots Thielemans is like a scout, showing us the way, showing us that it's possible, and maybe not taking his path, because this is not the goal. Every musician tries to find his own voice and his own signature, and but it was really like a light in the dark, you know, to follow. So from that time, when I decided to move to Paris, just a year before moving to Paris in '92, I decided I'm going to call Toots Thielemans. He doesn't know me, and I was so shy, and so I got his phone number and I called him, and he was so nice, so friendly. And he said, well, man, you know, when you move to Europe, and come visit me. And that's what we did. You know, I moved to Paris in '92. And the very first week of my installation in Paris, I just went to Brussels, and I met him there, and he was very nice and very encouraging. And from that time, we became friends, and he encouraged me in many different ways, listening to my recordings, calling me. Also, I got to invite him to record on one of my albums. I wrote a duet for him that's called Caesar. And he gently agreed to be part of the recording, which was a huge thing for me at the time. We recorded back in 2000. And we've been talking forever on the phone, and he would call me and say, man, look, I'm practicing that stuff right now. What are you practicing? It was very in that gentle manner and encouraging manner.
great? Well, what an amazing story that is. I've got a question here from Leo, and he's asking, how do you approach jazz improvisation? Is it melody or harmony?
It's both. Improvising in jazz is playing a melodical line through the changes. So that's a melodical, it's very melodic what you're playing. But what you're playing in your melody is based on what's behind, under, and that's based on the changes. So you have to become very intimate with the chord changes, the harmony, and also maybe the voicings that go around in the melody. I can demonstrate that if you want.
Yes, please. That'd be great.
So I will now play an improvisation, but a very simple one, only one note at a time. And you're going to hear the voicings. So I'm playing on a backtrack of a song called Triste. It's a song by Antonio Carlos Jobim, Bossa Nova. So I'm just going to play very simple stuff, but you're going to see that this is my thread through the changes.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Introduction, I'm not playing. So very simple improvisation, only one note. Okay, I played more than one note, so I didn't keep my promise, of course. My reflexes are to develop my melody and go along. Did you hear that?
That's really nice. Thank you, Olivier. Yeah. Really
So
good.
that's just to see. You see, the improvisation crosses the changes. It's very horizontal playing, but of course it's based on the knowledge of the chords. So if you want now, I can play maybe improvising on the same song again,
Yes.
and maybe trying to show that I will keep using those one note thing going up and down, but we'll start building around.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. So B flat major. Okay. I hope this was clear enough.
Yes, really good. Got a nice sound. Yeah, thank you.
I hope you could hear that what note I'm really aiming at, one note at a time, but building around and playing the chords for what they are.
Okay, well, that's interesting because Lena is one of our members and she's only been playing harmonica for 3 years, and already she's getting a sound quite similar to Toots when she plays some improvisation. But she's asking for learners improvising, which is more important to concentrate on the chords or the scales?
What is more important?
Yeah, to concentrate on for improvisation, is it the chords or the scales?
Everything is important. On any chord that you have in a song, you have you can have a set of different scales that can fit that chord, but you have to also understand which notes, how the chord is built, and what notes are important. What is the upper structure of the chord and low structure of the chord, and you have to know on what note what note you're playing, emphasizing, and you have to also control what this note is going to be in the next chord. Is this going to be a common note so I can keep it? Is this going to be a note that needs to be changed? And very lazily, which means only half a step, up or down. You see, that's the way to go through the chords. But for that, you have to every chord that that is coming next, you have to have the full picture of the chord. You have to know it by heart, and you have to understand it very intimately, which means knowing the notes, knowing the function, the intervals. Is this a major third that I'm pushing on? Is this a fifth? Is this a minor seventh? Whatever. And and you have to understand how you're going to keep going. You have to know the intervals, the arpeggios of the chord. So I can demonstrate that. So let me play scalishly, then let me play like arpeggiosly. Sorry for my English. I'll show you that, okay?
1, 2, 1.
So I'll play scale now. I'm leaving out the intro. So I'm starting on the major chord. I played like mainly scales. Now arpeggios. Okay, now I'm going more to, I'm forgetting to demonstrate and I'm going into whatever, a real improvisation. But I hope you got the message.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got another question from you, and this is from me, and that is, if you're learning a new piece, how do you go about learning it? What's your method?
So to learn a new piece, I usually practice very slow. I try to learn the melody by heart. I try to learn all the chords, to remember all the chords, and I encourage every harmonica player to play chords, which means not on the harmonica, but on the piano or on the guitar. That song that I'm playing right now for you, I can play it on the guitar. You know? You see, it's about knowing the chord changes very well. And then what is very important to me, and I think should be important to any harmonica player, is to have a feeling of inner tempo. So when you play a song, when you practice it, even if you don't have any accompaniment, any backtrack or anything, if I enter the room at the moment when you're practicing that song, I should hear. I should be able to recognize a melody. If you're improvising, I should be able to recognize what changes you're playing. I should be able to hear a groove. So that means you're mastering the tempo all by yourself. So you have to be very accurate rhythmically, and that's the main thing for me. That's what I lack sometimes when I listen to some harmonica players. I hear lots of virtuosity and lots of great abilities, but sometimes, in some cases, I miss a very strong tempo and rhythm, and that's for me a very important topic. So I should be able to recognize which song you're playing in. For example, right now this song is a backtrack, but I'm gonna play it one, all by myself. 1, 2. Okay, so I hope you recognize the changes. The tempo was there, and normally you shouldn't lose your tempo.
Great, that's really good. And when you gig, do you have a band, or how does it work for you?
Oh yeah, I'm very lucky that I've been able to develop my own projects lately. I've been recording 11 albums under my name as a leader. So it's lots of work, of course, but it's great because these are places where I can perform my own music and my own compositions with great players. I'm also very lucky because I get to be invited as a jazz soloist. So I can be a member, like a guest soloist in different bands, jazz bands. I can also, sometimes I'm in the studio, sometimes to record on any CD. Next week, I'm going to record soundtracks of a movie score by John Barry, Midnight Cowboy, and
wow.
Dance with Wolves. I'm doing this next Thursday in Switzerland with the symphonic orchestra. And so those are things that I do. So I don't know if this answers your question.
It does. Now tell me, Midnight Cowboy is one of my favourite tunes. Would you mind playing a bit for us, please?
just playing it by ear. I haven't even checked it out yet. I received the charts, but I haven't been looking at them yet.
And did you say you're recording that next week? Is that right?
Yeah, that's a recording I'm doing. Yeah. There's like a company called City Lights who is in charge of recording lots of music with the symphonic orchestras, inviting some soloists, and I just got invited to that for next week.
And if you work with an orchestra, what's your preparation to play with an orchestra? Is it different to your normal practicing?
Well, it depends on the music you're doing. I think what is very difficult with the orchestra is depending on the kind of music, you're going to have a tempo or not. If you don't have a tempo, that means you have rubato things, and where you have to suddenly fit in with a phrase without tempo and be able to enter the music perfectly. So you rely on the conductor to also cue you and do those things. But it seems that for those two pieces I'm going to be doing, there's going to be like a tempo for the orchestra, so it shouldn't be a problem.
And do you have your favorite composer in music?
There are so many of them. I don't know where to start. I don't have a classical background. I was not trained in classical music. So my experience in music has been listening to every record of jazz I could listen to from the moment I was a child up to now. So, of course, I was influenced by the main players that we hear in jazz, like Bill Evans, Toots Thielemans, of course, Miles Davis. Wayne Shorter is one of my favorite saxophone players, and he's very inspiring even to a harmonica player like me because of his total freedom. You know, what I love about music is not, of course, playing a melody correctly, improvising correctly is nice. But what I love the most is to be on that stage and to interact with the musician, because when you play with the musician, you are in the now, in the moment. You're reacting to everything you're listening to, and that affects your improvisation in real time. That makes you feel very alive, and that's what I love.
And do you have a natural clock timing, or do you carry on counting bars when you're playing jazz? How do you keep it together?
It's one part of the rhythmical training a jazzman should have is to hear the number of bars going by and the cycles of bars. To hear a song by group of 4 bars or group of 8 bars, and be able to really be like this bird flying all above, but be there right at the right moment when this bar comes in. That's a joke about jazz musicians. The joke is, where is the one? That's the main thing. We are always trying to land on the one smoothly.
Oh, brilliant! Yes, you mentioned the Affinity album. There's a track on there called "Always and Forever." Are you familiar with that? With Toots Thielemans?
I think so. I'm more familiar with the Days of Fun and Roses, and also I Do It for Your Love. That's the song that I've been more, but the whole album is great. Yeah, of course.
I Do It for Your Love. That's a wonderful tune. Would you mind playing a bit for us now? That's great.
I Do It for Your Love?
Yes, please. Yeah. That is so lovely. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell me, when you practice, what is your practice routine, and does it change depending on what you're doing?
It's changed during the years. When I was much younger, of course, I was eager to demonstrate my skills, like any young cat, want to achieve and want to be successful in his playing. So I was all absorbed with absorbing the language, the scales, the arpeggios, the language, all the things, and trying to play fast. And one of the lessons that I got from Toots was to never forget about music is about emotions, and it's about feeling emotions, and it's about giving emotions. And of course, I'm 57 years old now. So not that I don't feel that I have to prove anything anymore. That's not the point. You always want to play at the best of your abilities. But the thing is, the more I grow up and I grow old, and the more I remember what Toots said, the more I remember trying to look for the beautiful note, to choose carefully what you're doing, and to really go for the expression, for the emotion. More and more I try to go that way without forgetting my technical background, which is here and available when it's necessary, but always try to stay melodical and expressive.
Great, that's a great answer. I noticed with Toots that in the early years he played lots of notes, and as he got older he played less notes, but every note seemed to count, every single note. That's a big difference I saw in him.
Yeah, definitely. He was. I mean, I love every period of him. When he was playing bebop back in the 50s, it's so amazing what he does. So it's great. But I can be so moved by a short version of a bluesette that he would play, for example. Expression and knowing the harmony so well that when you emphasize a note, you know exactly the color of it according to whatever chord is under, going to look for the colors,
Okay, and you mentioned your father as a harmonica player. Tell me a bit about your father and his playing.
My father is still alive, luckily, and I called him today. In the island, in Reunion Island. I called him a few hours ago to wish him a good Father's Day. And up to now, he's still playing the chromatic harmonica not as a professional musician. It was never his job, but he always played popular music. And I can only be grateful to him for giving me that example. He's not really an improviser, but he's a good melodist, and he has a great feeling, and he can touch my heart. Yeah.
That's wonderful. We've got another question here from Leo, and he's saying that I find many players had talked this weekend pick up Brazilian music, especially Bossa Nova. What relevance does it have to you?
Actually, it's funny because that's also what I did. I felt, I could have played original music of mine with some backtracks, but I felt like in a masterclass and meeting people like this, it would be better to have like some sort of common background regarding the songs. And the reason why I choose Bossa Nova is because the grooves are great, and also because those songs are very rich harmonically, with many chord changes. So that's very similar to jazz. And it's kind of a tropical rhythm, which, I'm a tropical man. I come from the island, so I love playing on those grooves. That's the reason why.
Okay. You mentioned Bossa Nova. Can you play a bit of Bossa Nova for us now, please?
Okay, so maybe I can play that song that I was demonstrating on at the beginning. And maybe I play a little bit longer that time. What do you think?
Sounds like a good idea to me. Thank you.
Okay, Thank you for being so enthusiastic. Okay, so let's go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
My
Are you there?
goodness, my
Are you
goodness.
there?
Wow, that's amazing.
Thank you.
There's a, do you, yeah, I say you need to take a break here. Tell me something. So during that solo, then were you always counting bars? Is that what was going on in your head?
Not at all.
No.
I'm hearing cycles.
Yes.
I'm hearing cycles like by 2 bars or by 4 bars or by 8 bars.
Yes.
We are used in jazz to hearing long cycles. So you're not really counting inside. I don't count when I play, not at all.
Okay.
But and I'm suspended to the rhythm section. And of course, the thing is to recognize the color of the chords that are being played under you.
Yes.
And here it's a difficult exercise because it's a backing track. So it's not alive. And in real life, I would be playing this, but at every step of the way, I would be affected by whatever's being played on the piano, and that would probably change my phrase, or that would change the note, the colors that I decide to play on the chord. That would be in real time. So that's I mean, it's a good thing to do, but for me, it's more practicing what I've been doing here.
And you know what came across then to me is how emotional that was. You know, there's so much emotion coming.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Now I've got some comments coming in. I mean, basically, people have been blown away by your playing. But
oh, okay.
we've got a message here from Asia. As I said, we're broadcasting around the globe today, and they're saying the jazz harmonica masters are the best musicians in the world and the most humane. Is that lovely?
Oh, well, that's great. Well, of course, you know, it's difficult for me from my own window. It's difficult to decide and that jazz players are the best. But what I know for sure is when you're a jazz player, you have the ability to read music, you have the ability to read any melody, play melody you want, but the ability to improvise is very specific, and that's what makes makes it very interesting to have this ability on top of the rest, you know.
Okay, that's interesting because that fits in nicely to the next question. This is from Tony Aiken, nicknamed Bomber. He's a great player as well, but he's asking you for ear players, so little music knowledge. My improvisations are bases on if I can sing it, I can play it. So that's how he does his improvisation. But can you give him any tips how he can expand this approach, maybe using a keyboard?
Okay, so first of all, being able to play what you hear is a great start. Never forget about this. Always keep this good for you. What you have to develop is what you're able to hear. And the more you're going to practice chords, harmonies, intervals, colors on chords, scales on chords, the more you're going to hear stuff. The more this is going to be what you hear. You see? But this ability to play what you hear is great, and it should not. You shouldn't. No one should be ashamed of maybe not playing virtuosistic lines because his ability to hear is more limited. I think that's the best ability a musician can have, is to hear what he's playing. And but of course, the more practice, the more years you spend, the more time you spend with the music, the more you hear.
Great. Do you know, I have to say, I'm blown away by your playing. It is absolutely superb. But how long did it take you to get to this stage where quite clearly you're a world-class jazz player? I mean, how long did that take you?
Well, that's a good question. All I can say is I've been working very hard. I'm 57 years old. I started the harmonica when I was a child, but I was not an improviser. I started learning about improvisation and all those things about harmony and chords and stuff when I was 22, 23. And I just realized this was what I really wanted to do in my life. So I devoted myself to it. And I've been doing this and working, sorry for the expression, my ass off, to really be able to become intimate with the chords. So I spent many, many hours not playing harmonica. I spent many hours playing guitar and playing the chords, or going to the piano and hearing the chords. Or I spent many, many, many hours listening to the voicings inside the chords, the path that some notes follow, you know, as I was explaining before. And that's all explained in my method, by the way. During the COVID, I created my method online, which is called the chromatic harmonica according to Oko. And I put it on my website. It's both there's like a full French version, but there's also like a full English version. Okay. And that's what I talk about. And it takes time. You know, it took me, when I decided I wanted to be a jazz musician, and it took me at least 10 years before I started feeling happy on stage with what I was playing, and starting to let go and starting to feel free, and starting to not be centered on whatever I was playing, but my ability to listen to everything around me. That's when I realized I was starting to be happy with my playing. And now when I go on stage and I improvise, man, all I want is fun, pleasure, listening, interacting. But my ear is formed. You know, that's the difference now. I can recognize the color of a chord. I can recognize an interval. I recognize a groove. I can recognize metrics very easily. But that's a lifetime of working and practicing and listening, analyzing. I give you one example and one anecdote. When I arrived in Paris in '92, I was thinking I need to do some ear training and recognize intervals, which is distances, you know. Intervals. And I figured, how can I practice that? And I was taking the metro all the time in Paris. And when you enter the metro in Paris, it's like the door closes and it's going like, me. That was my reference point. And before getting to the next stop, in my head, I was practicing intervals with that reference point. And when I would get to the next station, I would check that I was right. That I was training my ear for months in the metro like this.
Great, wonderful. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Phil wants to know, can you talk to us about your pedagogical method site?
Yeah, so that's my method that I put online, called the chromatic harmonica according to Oko. Actually, I've been asked for many years to publish a method, and honestly, I didn't have time. I was busy with concerts, and I didn't know where to start. And but then with the COVID, I got stopped like everybody else. So I was spending lots of time at home, and I started doing lots of lives, and I see some friends here on Facebook. And I was asked about a method, and I started thinking about it. So I put it together, a method. There are many methods existing out there. I figured I would try to create a method that would not use the whole harmonical, theoretical, blah, blah, blah that you can find in any method, not even harmonica method, but any book, theory book or anything. I think people can find many things online now. What I decided to use is more of course, you have to learn and practice scales and stuff like that. It's the basics of music, but I tried to give some shortcuts, or maybe things that help me during my learning. For example, when I play any phrase that I play on the harmonica, I see that phrase in space in front of me. on a virtual keyboard of harmonica. And in my method, I've been really using that concept to learn, because I believe that you can learn not only with your ears, but also with your eyes. When you play guitar, you can remember positions on the neck. Well, every phrase that I play on a harmonica has a shape. You see, any scale has a shape. And I have my way of visualizing anything I play. So I hear it, but I also see it. And that's been helping me a lot. That's, for example, part of the first chapters of my method for beginners. Because when you practice something, it's not about only remembering by heart that, that F sharp is the major third of D, but it's about hearing the distance. It's about memorizing the function, the name of the interval, the name of the note, where it's located on the instrument. So that's part of my method. And regarding improvisation in my method, I decided not to be too theoretical, but to speak about harmony to specific cases, which means to specific songs. I take a song and I start analyzing it a little bit and giving clues about what's happening in there. And I classified it by levels. So there's level 1, which is for all. Then there's level 2, which is kind of intermediary. And there's level 3, which is for advanced. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you. And tell me something. In the next generation of players coming through, I mean, thankfully there are some jazz harmonica players, but who do you like? Who do you listen to?
Well, you know, there are plenty of. I'm very happy that this instrument is developing more and more, and it was not really the case when I started many years ago. But I see that it's interesting. More and more people are interested in that instrument, and that's great. And that's great for our instrument that we love. So I've been, of course, among everyone that I listen to, I have my preferences, and my preferences always go to people with a strong sense of rhythm, because it's difficult for me to enjoy a player who has vocabulary, who will be playing amazing phrases, but if the swing isn't there or the rhythmical approach is a little bit fluctuating, I don't feel comfortable. I need to hear very strong rhythm. So among the colleagues, there are many talented players out there. I know Will Gallison is attending the workshop, and it's great. I also enjoy very much Antonio Serrano, and Antonio Serrano from Spain. I'm sure you've heard of him. In Brazil, there's Gabriel Grossi, who I met, who is very interesting. Among the elders, there's Mauricio Ainor in Brazil that I was listening to when I was younger. Of course, any recording of Toots is always a treasure. You always learn something at any age, whatever your level might be. When you don't know what to do, just listen again to Toots, and you'll be inspired. You know, yeah, definitely.
You've mentioned some great players there. Now, have you heard Matthias Heisers from Denmark?
Yes, I have, and I've called him, and we have talked on the phone. He's very interesting, and very nice. And what I like is that all those players are very different, and that's the goal. Everyone is trying to find his own signature, his own sound, his own approach. And Matthias definitely has his own approach, like Antonio has, and Grégoire in the States. Many interesting players all around. More and more interesting players that I've also been meeting through the social networks. Philip Jers is very interesting too. I've been talking to him too. I tried to meet him when I was performing in Stockholm some months ago, but he was out of town. So we try to hook up.
Yes. And you mentioned your recordings next week for John Barry's music, but what's the rest of this year looking like for you? Do you have many gigs, or what's going on?
Okay, so I'm happy because I was able to kind of reschedule some canceled concerts from last year. So I'm very happy because I have a schedule that's already. I have concerts planned till February, even April of next year, with the concerts to play every month. Some months are more busy than others. November is quite busy, and also as I have mentioned before, I'm a Creole person. I come from a Creole island, and my last project that you mentioned, which is called Singular Insularity, is the style of that music is to be a jazz player, but it's to play on Creole rhythms. Some Creole rhythms from my Indian Ocean, some mixed up with some Creole rhythms from Caribbean islands. And the members of my band are all from a different island. My bass player is from Mauritius Island. I am from Réunion. My pianist is from Martinique. My drummer comes from Guadeloupe, and my percussionist comes from Cuba. So that's I'm playing with that band next week. We have 3 gigs coming, and that's quite happening. And when we play, rhythm is everything. So yeah, that's that. I'm happy about that. Yeah.
Your band sounds absolutely amazing. Do you play any South African jazz?
No, actually, what the influence is, if you want to understand, you have to know the history of the Indian Ocean. I'm going to make it very short. Reunion Island is a tropical island that's a former French colony, and it's been belonging to France since 1645 or something like that. And back in 1700 and a little bit after, there was slavery there. So there were slaves brought from Africa, from West Africa, from East Africa, from Madagascar. And all this with European people started to make a very mixed population, a little bit like Brazil. I am not very representative of the average guy of Reunion Island because I have Celtic origins. My origins, very old origins, are from Brittany in France. I bear a Breton name. Ker Ourio is definitely Breton. And anyway, so if you try to understand the story of that island, the history, in all those islands, there was slavery. In all those islands, there was Africa. There was Africa coming, bringing to the melting pot, bringing the rhythms. And we have a very specific kind of music in Reunion Island, which comes from that slavery time, which is called Maloya. And that music is the blues of the slaves, that they had in the cotton fields in America. Well, we had the Maloya in Reunion Island with the slaves playing only percussion music. So the rhythm is extremely strong. That's why I'm emphasizing on that. I grew up in an island where the music is very strong rhythmically. There are all kinds of grooves, not so easy to catch up. Lots of 12/8s, ternary music, lots of 9/8s with all kinds of accents on the beat, off the beat. See, and the question is, where is the one? As I told you before.
It's the one.
So my ear is trained to African rhythms since I was a child. And that's what I'm trying to incorporate into my own universe as a composer and performer.
The music you just described there, can you just play a bit of that on harmonica?
Um, I'm playing just on a C major scale, but what is important is to get the rhythm. 1, 2, 3. Okay. What is important is to get the groove. The scale doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, my screen turned off.
That's impressive. Do you know, we've got less than 15 minutes left. Can you believe
Okay.
it? So, for those of you watching us today, if you're enjoying this, please donate to harmonicauk.com. We're trying to keep music live. Every single penny we raise is going to the artists.
Okay.
This is great. Really is a fantastic.
Would you like me to play something else?
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't know. I have one more Bossa Nova, or maybe I have also ballad. Just jazz standards I decided to choose for today, because I believe this is like some sort of common language we have.
Which ballad do you think of?
I don't know. I can play Wave by Carlos Jobim if you want.
Yes, please.
You want that?
Wave, yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
You hear me okay?
Yes, we can. That's good. my goodness, that was amazing.
Thank you.
Olivier, I'll let you get your breath. I need to tell you a quick story about Toots, if I can.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I used to be an airline pilot, and about 30 odd years ago, I landed in Belgium, and there was a new hotel there, the Sheraton Hotel, brand new hotel. And when we checked in with the crew, I could hear Toots Thielemans playing, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. This hotel is really groovy. The fact they've got a CD of Toots playing. And
Yeah.
went to the lift, and as the lift went up, it's a glass lift we could see out over the ballroom, and there was Toots and his band playing in this hotel. I just couldn't believe it.
Oh,
I quickly got changed and rushed down and managed to get in there. But that's my only time I've ever seen Toots, and it was quite amazing, I have to say. But here's my question to you now. I recorded an album a couple of years ago. I'm a very basic amateur harmonica player, but I've recorded an album, and I found it the most terrifying thing I've ever done, being in a studio with a live band. But what was the experience like of you being in recording with Toots? Was that?
There is a, if you want, you can go look online on YouTube. There's a video under my name, which is called Caesar. Caesar, like Julius Caesar. That's the name of the song that I wrote for Toots for our duet. So it's written in French, Cesar. And you can go and you see the images of us in the studio. It was great. And it was great because, you know, back in 2000, I was a young player and I was very eager to get recognition, like, you know, any young cat. And I had known Toots for a few years already, and he was very encouraging with me. And when I asked him if he would agree to participate in that recording, on that duet, he joked and he said, well, okay, I'm not going to ask you money. Just send me a train ticket and I'll come. So that was something very nice. And when I got to the studio, he made me feel very comfortable. And we can see those pictures on the video. He's, I don't know, holding me, and we're going through the music. And he made me feel at ease, you know.
Oh, great. And so you're both playing at the same time in the studio, is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Actually, what we did is I recording the whole rhythm section in a studio in France. And I went to Brussels and we recording Toots and me live, because I wanted to have that live interaction between him and me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you ever ask him who his musical influences were? Because he's just out there on his own, in my opinion, as a jazz musician. But
well, you know, he's with his age, he has known every period of the jazz era. When I first visited his home, he put a what's the phonograph?
yes.
You know, with the dog, the voice of his master or something, the dog.
His master,
And
yes.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, and he put this 78 RPM recording, and that was like crazy swing clarinet stuff, and he was playing harmonica like a clarinet player. So he's been influenced by every style along the way.
Yeah, quite amazing. Yeah. If people want to know more about you, do you have a website?
Of course, www.chromatic.com.
Okay. And your albums, where can we get your albums you have?
Well, if you go on my website, you find everything. You know, you can download my albums. Yeah. There's the method. If you're interested in charts, you can get charts. There are even some solo transcriptions. In my method, I also put solo written transcriptions of my solos. That's all accessible inside the method. And I also, for those interested, during the COVID time, I've been giving lots of private lessons online, like Skype, like that. I can still give some lessons, maybe a little bit less than before, but I'm still available from time to time. All we have to do is take an appointment, contact me on my website, and I get receive an email, and then we can decide on a time where we can spend an hour together.
Okay, wonderful. Do you know what? This has been one of those moments in your life you never forget. This has been very inspirational for me, Olivier. So thank you very much. Your
Oh, wow.
playing is this in the super league. So thank you. We're just about out of time, unfortunately. I've tried to cover all the questions, but there's been quite a few questions and much praise for you, just saying how much they enjoy you as a person.
Thank you, and greetings to everyone. I'm sorry I could not really answer all of your comments one by one because of this process, but thank you, Pete, for hosting.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for inviting me to that chromatic weekend. I'm very honored, and it's a special moment for me. Thank you so much.
Well, we're very
And
grateful.
thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.